I've had the Moza R5 for a year and a half now, and in that time I've got pretty much every single accessory and upgrade you can get for this little guy. So if you've got the Moza R5 or you've recently got yourself a Moza R3 and you're looking to treat yourself to some upgrades, here's my list of every upgrade I've made ranked best to worst. Coming in at number 1, this was the last upgrade that I got and I really wish it would have been the first. So if you haven't got the Formula Mod yet for your ES wheel, definitely pick this up. It's one of the cheapest upgrades you can get at around £40. The only reason it's not currently mounted to the ES wheel is unfortunately it isn't a quick release system, so it does take a little bit of screwing to get it in and out to change it over to the round wheel, which I'll get into later. The reason I chose the ES wheel mod for my top pick is because I slept on this for so long because I didn't think it would make that much difference. At the price, there's no better way to improve your system. It gives you a little bit more tactile feel when you're driving, and the Formula style of it just feels a lot nicer to hold. So if you're into Formula or GT style driving, definitely pick this one up. My second pick is gloves. These are Simhound externally stitched gloves, and I slept on these for ages as well. I'd never really thought that having gloves would make that big of a difference, and again, they're really cheap. These ones I think cost £27, probably as good as any other gloves. But even if you want to try bicycling gloves or something like that, definitely give it a go and see how you feel about it, because for me, I won't go back now to not using gloves. And especially once you picked up the Formula Mod, just adds such an extra nice little detail to it. These have good grips on them, and they also work with your touchscreen, so I can use it with my touch mouse and also with my phone screen. Third up, I've got the brake performance mod for the SRP Lite pedals. And the reason the performance mod makes such a difference is because it takes the floppy, easily pressed brake pedal that you get in the stock set, and it gives it much more resistance, so it makes it much harder to push. And by adding that force, it allows you to start to use your muscle memory to build a pattern in your braking performance. So rather than with the stock setup, it's basically on or off. With this, you can use your muscles in your legs to maybe set 50% by how hard you press. The keen-eyed among you will notice that this isn't actually a standard brake mod, this is a modded brake mod. This is the AlienMods Loadcell, and this will be my fourth pick. And if you got the performance mod, then I think this makes so much sense to get. It's a really good upgrade, because what this allows you to do is then it programs into the Moza software the actual pressure that you're applying to the pedal. So with the brake mod, a lot of people get confused when they're first starting, but it's still a position-based sensor in the pedal. So it depends how far you press the pedal and the position of the pedal to how much brake force you apply in the game. Whereas with the Loadcell mod, when you press the pedal, the power being pressed through the spring goes into the Loadcell, and that's what reads out the force into the game software. So by reading out the force, you get a much more consistent output to the game, and that allows you to do something called trail braking, which means you can gradually release the brake pedal at a set amount, and that will release in the game consistently. So it allows you to feather off the brake pedal as you go into a corner. Now, this should, in theory, work with the R3 with an Xbox. I reckon it would, because it fits into the normal Moza software and it works completely stock. However, I haven't been able to try this, so I'd love to hear from anyone in the comments if anyone's given it a go. This is, again, it's a really cheap mod. I think it's about 60 quid for the AlienMods Loadcell. So if you've already got a brake performance kit, then definitely pick this up, and I'd love to hear your feedback if it does work on the Xbox. My next pick is the Moza shifters and handbrakes. So this is a sequential shifter, and this is probably the best way that you can improve your experience in sim, because it just adds a whole other tactile element. Depending on which cars you drive, depends whether you'd be better off with a sequential or the manual gearbox or the handbrake. So for me, this is really fun to use. I can't get enough of the clicking, and it's a great little addition. You can also clamp this to your desk or if you've got a rig. At this point, in 6th position, we have the round wheel mod from Moza, and the reason this is in 6th position is because it's a little bit more expensive than the ES mod. This I think is between £70–80 in the UK, and the reason for that is you get the shifter, the paddle extensions on the back, and you get also a whole lot more material. Some people were complaining about this not being well made, but to me, certainly this version that I have here is very well designed, it's well built, at least on par in terms of quality from the original ES wheel rim that I had, probably a bit better to be fair. And if you're into rally games or drifting, this will be a no-brainer if you're on Xbox. And that brings me on to my next pick, because if you're not on Xbox, you might have another option. This is an AliExpress quick release that's Moza compatible. This cost me about £26, I think it was. And what this allows you to do is you can then attach any third-party wheel to your Moza. So with this adapter, you'll be able to use any different round wheel that you wanted. So you could buy another one off AliExpress, or you could buy a real racing wheel and attach it. The downside of this is you won't be able to use the buttons on your wheel without using a USB cable. So this won't work if you've got an R3 and you want to use it on console with an Xbox. But for everybody else, definitely worth picking one of these up for so cheap, 26 quid. And it just allows you to use any other wheel. I really want to pick up some actual real racing wheels. And lastly, we've got the big upgrade. This is the Moza KS wheel. Again, this won't make any sense for you if you're on the R3 and you're using it on Xbox, because this won't be compatible with the Xbox. But if you're on an R5 and you're looking to spend some bigger money on an upgrade, yes, this isn't going to be in the £100 range, but this is such a significant upgrade over the ES wheel. I had to mention it. You can see a full review on the channel of this in comparison to the ES wheel, and I've loved using this in my time racing with it. I think the buttons are very good, it's very tactile. This is a huge upgrade over the ES wheel, but be very careful with this, because if you upgrade to the KS wheel, it's a bit wider, and because of that, you lose a bit of the torque in your wheelbase. Because it's wider, you put more force in through your hands as you're driving. And if you get the KS wheel, you're almost certainly going to end up upgrading to a new wheelbase in the end. Unfortunately, that's what happened to me here. I've now replaced all my stuff and I've gone big on the upgrades. So this is definitely a gateway drug to the next tier of sim racing, but it's a lovely wheel and it's a great upgrade. It's a really great addition to a Moza R5, but it will make you upgrade your wheelbase next.